Inquiries and sponsorship. Call 080 3539 7151.
I want all this money.
Independent television, factual news, breaking news, quality programs, entertaining programs, sports, class signals in over 8 neighboring states. Independent television, certainly the best.
Very good afternoon to you out there, and thanks for staying tuned to our station, Independent Television, Abuja. The program is Issues and Answers, and I am your anchor, Francisca Oga, standing in for Esther Isetin. Now, you might ask yourself, why Issues and Answers? At no other time have Nigerians needed to sit down, take a look, and actually talk about how they feel about the issues bedeviling us as a nation. We are gradually approaching 2019 when the time has come again for us to cast our votes, to decide who takes over the helm of affairs, to decide the people who will chart a course for us as we move towards the future of our great nation. And we have witnessed the beehive of activities in the past few days. All the party secretariats are agog with activities, people picking nomination forms. You know, even though the campaigns have not begun yet, you can see vibes, you can feel vibes from the streets and from every nook and cranny. Nigerians are hungry for, what do I call it, a period like the elections again. The question is, who is eligible to actually stand in for Nigerians come 2019? Who should we listen to? Amongst all the new political parties, what do we expect? Is it just another ruse? Will 2019 come and then we have a fusion and end up with just 2 major parties taking part in the elections, with the others taking part as mere onlookers, as we've had in some of the election years we had? All of these and more are what we'll be looking at today on Issues and Answers. I have with me in the studio the national president and the presidential aspirant for one of the new political parties, is Mr. Tope Fasua of the Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party. We're going to be asking him some of these questions on Issues and Answers, and trust me, he's going to give us some answers today. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. Thanks for inviting me here.
Now, let's start from ANRP. You said your party is the Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party. Can you shed some light on the choice of a name?
Oh, fantastic. That's a question we don't get asked very often, but when we were going to set up the party, we needed to have a name. We needed to have a name that would show that we were coming to do something new, because, of course, the field, the terrain is now crowded. It wasn't even that crowded then. We had 46 parties at that time, so we needed something that would show that. So hence the name Renewal. We also needed that party, because we were fairly young people coming together. We needed the word party in the name. It wasn't going to be anything like movement and all of that. We wanted it to be about Nigeria, so we had Nigeria must be there. It's not like these young people are coming with crazy ideas from abroad. We didn't want anything like revolution or whatever that will put people off and make it look like it's a party of hot-headed people. And then, of course, just before we moved to INEC, you know, your court was that being that we're coming and the terrain may get crowded, it may be important to find an A name to put us somewhere up front. And so we looked around and we thought that the name Abundant hadn't been used by anyone. And so we adopted that. If you arrange Nigeria's parties alphabetically right now, not the acronym, we're still #1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good strategy there. Now, talking about strategies, outside the shores of Nigeria, when you hear a political party, most times you can spot their ideology just by hearing the name. So what is the ideology for ANRP?
Yeah, you know, ordinarily you needn't be able to spot the ideology by looking at the name of a party, except those parties that had been formed a long time ago. As I was coming here, I was reading something about federalism, and I could see all the ups and downs that the United States has gone, and even the argument between Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton about the use of the word federalism. Hamilton was using federalism to justify a strong government in the center. Jefferson was using federalism to justify, you know, power at the state level. You understand? Which is still the argument we're having in Nigeria. So very interesting.
Okay, so
but
where does
ideology,
ANRP stand when it comes to the, before we go back to the ideology, you've mentioned something.
Oh.
Weak center, strong basis, and then...
No, weak center. Weak center is what we're about.
Okay.
At most, you know, we prefer like the matter of allocation formula, not more than 25% should go to the federal government. And we believe that the local government should get the bulk of the money, like 40% of the money, and the state 35%. However, there's something in our constitution that's called a joint account. And that joint account is the reason why the state are the ones administering all the finances going to local government. In fact, they collect all the money from federal government, and it's whatever they like, they send to local government. And since they started that, it wasn't like that in the early part of Obasanjo government, but since they started that idea, I think maybe under Yar'Adua government, whatever, the local governments have gone downhill. It used to be bad before, that local government chairman will appear in local government secretariat, share money and go. Now nothing happens. Most of our local government chairmen, they don't live in their local government anymore. You know, I mean, it's a very unfortunate what has happened. So we prefer a weak center. However, that money that will go to the local government should be jointly administered by a team of federal, state, and local government. You know, we prefer that, and again, going back to my discussion about federalism, that there's nothing wrong, okay? As we speak now, there's still arguments going on about federalism, even in the US, where the term federalism was actually evolved. You know, there's still discussion going on. There's nothing called true federalism. Every nation has a right to bring out the type of federalism or the type of system of government that works for it. What we haven't had in this country is that we stopped discussing. We stopped that constructive argument since 1999. The politicians that came, they sat on everything. Everybody is perpetuating themselves. Many of the politicians that have been there since 1999, many of them in the Senate, House of Reps, they're still there. Some of them have graduated to governor. Some have gone and done governorship. They're back in the Senate. So even when people talk about the youth are not in government, the truth is that the youth get involved in government. People like Donald Duke, they were like 38 when he became governor of Cross River State. Can you believe that? And many young people got involved, but they're still, most of them, if not all, except some of them that have died or whatever, are still in the process. And some of them have also brought their children into the process. You have people going for Senate now, and their children are going for House of Assembly. Okay. Yeah, so so what it tells you is that, look, in this country, nobody is thinking for the collective. Everybody is thinking for themselves, especially in politics, and this is the time for the youths of this country to step up. Our ideology.
That brings us to the ideology now.
So our ideology is clear. As a matter of fact, the story about our ideology is that when we were coming together, because we're just youth, and yeah, look, I'm not quite a youth anyway, but a lot of us were youth, and you know, some of us are just over the threshold of being called a youth, you know. But so we're coming from different places. The first thing we said was that anybody that would join this party, we want you to be people that have jobs. We don't want people to be professional politicians. That's one. And however, if you don't have a job and maybe you're a graduate or you've left secondary school, whatever, send us your CV or your name and all of that, your phone number, because there are job opportunities that we're aware of from time to time will help you. So that was how we started. So we were coming from different, a lot of us were private sector people who had never been involved in politics. So some people had socialist background or thinking, some people had capitalist thinking. The idea was now, okay, what kind of ideology? So we had to discuss it organically among ourselves. What do? We now realize that a country like the USA is meant to be capitalist, but they have a very extensive social program for their people. They have food banks where they have food stamps, they have Obamacare that takes care of everybody's health. You could see that the government is efficient in those places. It takes care of people and treats them like human beings. And you go to the same in most of Europe. Then you go to China. It's meant to be a socialist country, but now you can see that China has evolved into capitalism, state-led capitalism. So we realize that, look, we can't box ourselves into capitalism or socialism. We have to think with common sense. Our ideology is based on common sense, that whatever kind of policy, wherever it may come from, whether it's socialist, capitalist, liberal, neoliberal, libertarian, neo-libertarian, whatever kind of policy we're using, but so long as we can fit it to Nigeria and Nigeria's people as at now, and say that this will work for our people now, that's what we're going to use. So we call it constructive and positive pragmatism. That's our ideology, constructive and positive pragmatism. So we choose the best from everywhere. We use common sense at every point in time. For example, someone will say, oh, this country is meant to be a capitalist country. Capitalist how? We don't even have the capital. All right, even those who are doing local champions here, they don't understand that Nigeria is not playing at all in the race for capital. They don't even understand what's going on in other parts of the world. But we cannot pursue capitalism in Nigeria when you have almost 90 million people living from hand to mouth. 90 million people, extremely poor people, the highest number in the world. You'll be a criminal to say you want to practice pure capitalism in Nigeria. We have to first of all take care of those, because the countries you are trying to copy, the countries in Europe, the countries in the United States and so on, they are not just practicing capitalism, they're not just practicing, they are taking care of their people first, making sure their people are not living like animals. This is a country where since 1960 we have never had any plans, for example, for housing for our people in the villages. Village people, when they grow up, they build houses with mud anywhere from the north of this country to the south of this country, east and west. They build houses with mud. The government doesn't care whether you build the houses well, whether it has ventilation and all. So those are areas of intervention that we need to talk about. And it's only a government of common sense that will do that for us.
Okay, let me take you up on the issue of housing. Yeah. We have various housing schemes that we've seen in the past. You have the NSITF, you have the Federal Mortgage Bank giving out loans and all of that, but we haven't seen any impact
They can't have impact
on the grassroots. So I would ask you, what are your plans actually? It's not all about talk, because as they would say, talk is cheap. What is your strategy for bettering the lot of the grassroots people? Okay,
listen, the point is this, in solving a problem, the first thing you have to do is to identify the problem properly. You mentioned the NSITF, Federal Mortgage, and as I was coming to your station, I saw there's another one there, and I just took a glance at the signboard, and it's telling me, oh, gated community, generating. But that has no plans at all for the people of this country. And just yesterday, I was passing another one that was totally empty. And I'm wondering, why are we building all of these empty things? We build luxury in a country where we don't need luxury. What we need are the basic stuff. These 89 to 90 million people that are extremely poor in this country do not need luxury housing. So first of all of those projects you have mentioned will fail, have failed and will continue to fail for as far as the eye can see, because they are vanity projects in a country that is in need of basic stuff. Again, I'm mentioning to you that remember the village maybe your parents are from. Let me say, you don't look like a village person. So, but the village that your parents are from, for example, think about that village right now. And I want viewers to think about their villages. Government has never been there in those villages. There's absolutely no government there, no housing, no water, no lights, you're almost zero. No schools, no hospitals, no doctors, and no. So the plan is to be able to, first of all, that there's an opportunity at that level. We need to evolve rural housing. We need to evolve a rural renewal as against an urban renewal. We need to have, what is the prototype house for our village in the north? What's the prototype house for our village in the south? What can work for them? Okay. Why is government not assisting them? So in talking about that, that is opportunity for construction industry. That is opportunity for rural renewal and an agricultural revolution, because when people start to live in those places and are comfortable to live in their villages, then you'd have a revolution going on at that level. And then that's also an opportunity for a reversal of the rural-urban drift. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and in terms of funding, it is possible. First, the point is, what kind of prototype houses are we talking about? The same mud can be taken to a higher level. The same mud houses can be, we can actually do a lot of research and actually upgrade those houses. We have burnt brick industries around this country. There's one in Ekiti, there's one in Enugu or so. There are 4 of them. burnt brick industries that can be revived by, if we decide that, look, we're going to have a rural renewal, do something that we have never done before. The difference between our country, the difference between our country and many of these countries we run to for holidays and all of that, oh, this country is beautiful, is because they determined at some point that they are citizens of their country. The residents of their country, no matter where they are, will never drop below a certain standard of living. Nigerians have suffered too much. It is totally unacceptable. Somehow we believe, many Nigerians now just think it's just okay. You live like, even worse than wild animals will live, crawl out from anywhere every morning, live from hand to mouth, beg people for money, and we just believe it's okay. I'm saying that, our party is saying that this is not okay. We can do a lot better than this.
Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about money in politics because that's one of the problems you have in Nigeria. But before then, I'll take a break now and then let my PD play us a clip of the picking of a nomination form, and then we'll discuss about what money is doing to our politics. PD, please.
Mr. President couldn't have accepted this from us. Because Mr. President, thank you very much.
That was President Muhammadu Buhari receiving the nomination form bought for him by the pro-APC group, National Consolidation Ambassador Network. Speaking before receiving the 45 million naira form, the president faulted those who defected from the All Progressives Congress. In his words, they are self-seeking politicians who do not actualize their unpatriotic intentions in the APC.
Today, I am pleased to say the weakest among us, whose selfish expectations do not align with our selfish vision, have exited our party. We now have a party of strong and patriotic individuals who are ready, willing, and able to continue on this journey of building a strong, secure, self-sufficient, and corruption-free Nigeria.
Promising to do more if elected, President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration has performed satisfactorily in the last 3 years in critical sectors that touch the lives of Nigerians.
The people's voices could be heard and eventually was heard through the ballot box. Our dream for change, which started in 2002, became a reality.
Speaking earlier for the Board of Trustees of the group, Honorable Chukwuemeka Nwanjuba says the 45 million naira raised to purchase the form for the president was donated by struggling Nigerians. He explained that their decision was born out of the immense performance of the president in the last 3 years.
So you've seen that report. That nomination form cost 45 million naira. What's your take on this kind of money going into picking up just a form in politics?
It is a sad taste in the mouth, That's a political party that's been headed by a certain former labor leader. And one will think that, we would have some pro-poor, pro-policy ideas, but he has turned that party into an elitist haven where corrupt money will be the thing that they keep on moving around there. It is totally obnoxious, to a large extent. 45 million for forms, 22.5 million at the state. And a number of people have actually taken them to court on it. In fact, I have a few friends who, who went to that party foolishly because maybe they wanted to get a quick, the party that is reigning, you want to quickly join them so that you can be assured. There are no assurances in this world, all right? And now some of those friends of mine I'm talking now, some of them have taken them to court.
That brings us to your party.
Because of that.
The ANRP, how do you intend to tackle the issue of money in politics?
Well, you see, it depends on what aspect of money in politics. For one, the use of money to build political parties, the use of public money to build political parties, and the use of money to buy votes, we're tackling that. We're actually proceeding to court in the next few days, and we're actually suing the INEC and suing APC and PDP. And we're asking for a de-licensing and deregistration of those two parties for their roles over time, perennially, in the corruption of the political process as in negation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic and in negation of Section 124 to 130 of the Electoral Act, which criminalizes clearly the use of money in buying votes and the use of money in growing the political party. In 1984, when General Buhari first came, He jailed some governors, all right, for one reason and one reason only. He said they were caught using state funds or whatever, it was proven, whatever. He didn't even have to prove it. He jailed them for 300 years for using state funds to build their party. Some of those governors were Ambrose Ali, Bisi Onabanjo, Ape Aku, and a few of them. Some of them died in jail. Some of them died later on. He jailed them for 250, 300 years. In 2018, it seems like it's normal for them to do that. How many of those parties that we're talking about have used the subscription of their people, they don't even have a membership register. You can see that the so-called APC now, they're trying to do direct primaries in some, they said they wanted to do, and the governors are saying we don't even have a register. They have confessed. And now this is what I'm saying about the breach of, including the PDP, the breach of the electoral law, the breach of the constitution of this country. Many of them have gone on TV and confessed, and they said they were born again, like the former Deputy Senate President Ibrahim Mantu was on channels, confessing that sorry, they used to when he was in PDP and DSP, they were using money, they were bribing voters, they were bribing polling agents of other parties, they were doing all sorts of things. He needn't be confessing on channels. He needs to be in the dock. Himself and many other people that are like him, we have those evidences, and we're proceeding to court. So that's what we're doing. In terms of our own party, we have crashed all of those things. For a presidential ticket in our party is 1.5 million.
Whoa.
Okay, and state governor 1 million, and it goes down like that. House of Rep, I remember, is about 400,000. The House of Assembly is 200,000, and that's where the councillors we are giving them about 50,000 or thereabouts. Even sometimes we waive it for them. Look, however, money, having a bit of liquidity. Politics is not for riff-raffs, it must be said.
Yes.
Even if you don't have a job, but you're a good man in your area, people will sponsor you. You understand what I'm saying? But it's not something you do just because you are jobless. So, okay, I'm jobless, but I think I have the best idea to rule Nigeria. Sometimes those kind of people who have those ideas should be encouraged in the private sector. At least make something of yourself. Earn some money before you come into politics, so that you're not just in politics begging. And there are people who also have made it their profession to be in politics, begging from one point to the other, trying to make money from people that they see in politics.
Just before we go, because you are a presidential aspirant, I would like for you to tell Nigerians, what is your watchword as a politician? Integrity,
integrity, and also the need to get back the dignity of our people for them. That's the watchword. Integrity all the time. Simplicity, integrity. That's my buzzword, and that's my watchword as a politician and as someone who's trying to go for the presidential seat in Nigeria. And that's what I'm about, really. And your parting word to our viewer? Sorry? Your parting word to our viewer. What do you have to say to our viewer before you leave? Well, I basically want to say that they should keep hope alive. I want them to understand that Nigerians have really suffered, that they have really suffered, even if they don't know. The things that we accept in this country, nobody else in the world is accepting. I remember Nelson Mandela in an interview telling someone, I think it's Akim Baba Ahmed, that listen, that he doesn't understand why Nigerians are not more agitated than they are right now. And since that time to today, things have only become worse. So the Nigerians should understand, they should begin to elevate their thinking, because we need to elevate our humanity. We should begin to demand for more, not with a view to, claiming rights and all of that, but jointly we can work towards a better country, a better humanity for everybody. And that's possible. And I would say that they should watch out for ANRP, anywhere they see ANRP, all over Nigeria. Anybody contesting on ANRP, vote for them, because this is a party of integrity. This is a party of the dignity of every Nigerian, and that's what we're about. Okay, the campaigns have not started yet. Maybe I should find you before you leave the studio. I'm so sorry. All the same, thanks so much for coming on the program. You're welcome. And we actually wish you luck with your presidential ambition. Thank you very much. It's on this note I'll have to say thank you, our viewer, for sticking with us to the end of the program. It has been Issues and Answers, and I have been standing in for Esther Lusetum. Watch out for this spot same time next week for another vibrant and inspiring discussion. I'm Francisca Oga. Have a beautiful day.
certainly the best.
We got a 24/7 light, we got water, we got the best amenities, and when I don't feel like going out, I just watch TV.
Nice. All times, right?
Come on, man. Can you get Fox TV on Star Times? Ebony Live TV? Discovery Family? Please.
Yes, ma.
We get all that and more channels safe. The StarTimes Classic Bouquet Reloaded is the best deal.
The best.
Well, if you're paying over 10,000 naira for a cable plan, then it has to be good.
Thank you, kid. We pay 1.9.
Choose it.
Get the best deals on channels like Fox TV, Ebony Live TV, ST Nollywood Plus, Discovery Family,